Thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys taking out the time to learn a little bit more about Matthias Academy, our day program, and our residential component. If you guys don't mind, I know some have been visited to Matthias, some don't know me from Adam, so I'm going to start with our day program portion and then kind of scoot into our residential component because that's the newest to us. All right, so here I have our amazing founder, Miss Elizabeth Pumala. She founded and opened Matthias Academy back in September of 2020 during the COVID pandemic. Our adult day program is servicing students ages 18 to 100 plus with really mild to severe disabilities, specialized medical needs, behavioral, sensory needs, any kind of supports. We are on a mission to service anyone and everyone that we can. We currently have 2 day program locations. Our Abbey campus is in Bennett Lake, and our 83 campus is in Schriever, just 6 minutes up the road from our original campus. We do have a 3rd location, not for the day program specifically, but we have a gift shop that is going to be a new retail space for us right across the street from our 83 campus. So our students will be able to thrive there, whether they're working, stocking, welcoming the community, just another way for us to, push for that inclusive community all around us. We are a 503c3, IRIS vendor approved. This is actually inaccurate. Since we put together the presentation, we were at 114 students, now we're at 117 students and still growing. Numbers are changing on the daily. All right, so our mission is to provide endless opportunities for our extraordinary adults within the day program and within our residential component. On the residential side, we are looking for quality, supportive, and safe independent living, doing everything that we can to work through that process, and we'll touch on that in just a little while. All right, so our day program, we currently have 14 fraternity houses. We service with art, music, we've got libraries at both locations now, promoting healthy living, exercise, getting out into the community, also elective classes. So rather we want to be working on gardening for our new garden center. They were just talking about propagating plants today. I was like, I need to sit on this and learn a little bit more. Really anything and everything that piques student interest. Some days we come in thinking, oh, wow, I've got this great lesson plan and this is what's gonna happen today. And the students aren't feeling it. They wanna talk about something else. We absolutely pivot to make sure that we keep everybody happy and engaged and really learning and pushing towards things that they care about. We try to keep as low a student to staff ratio as possible. Again, we service kind of full gamut, whether it is intense medical needs or behavioral sensory support needs. It all impacts our staff to student ratio. So some of our fraternities are maybe 1 staff to 4 students, while others could possibly be a 1-to-1, even if that includes 1-to-1 nursing. If that's what the need is, we are gonna meet that need. We want everybody to be safe and successful. All right, so let me talk about our current residential housing. So we have 2 residential homes up and running currently. Our women's house opened in October of 2023. They are in Pleasant Prairie. And our gentleman's house just opened a couple weeks ago, February 26th, and they are in Twin Lakes. Our goal is to have a duplex open by the end of this year on our 2nd day program campus. So that will give us space for an additional 8 residents. We're hoping to do 4 gentlemen and 4 ladies. Construction is underway. It's ever changing every day. We do encourage you guys all, families, staff, everybody to come out and see us, whether you want to tour the day program locations, kind of see that house transform from what it was on the existing property to what it's going to become. Everybody is welcome to come and check it out for yourselves. Staffing for our houses, we have 4 residents per house. We have 2 staff members on every shift with a 3rd person on call within 10 minutes of those houses if the need arises. And that is not necessarily a negative need either. It can be for behavioral supports, things of that sort, but even if they decide, hey, it's a beautiful day, let's push out into the community, we're gonna do an impromptu trip, then we have that 3rd person, that extra set of hands to make sure that we have all the supports and safety that we need out in the community. So here is the future. The future is fast approaching every day. It's fluid, it's changing. Expanding services. So that 2nd location that I was referring to, our 83 campus, that was purchased not long ago. It's on 88 acres in Schriever, Wisconsin. It is going to allow us to house an additional 40 students in the day program. It's also going to allow back here on this backside for our residential subdivision and our dream building. So right now, currently on that lot is just what's up here. We've got the L building is housing frat houses for our day program. This is our gymnasium and what was once started as our gift shop in our garden center, but we have continued to grow, so that has been transformed into an additional 2 frat houses, which is why our gift shop garden center is transitioning to the retail space across the street in the strip mall. And then this house here was just not up to par for us, so it's now going to become a duplex so that we can bring in those 8 additional residents sooner than we anticipated. All right, and ultimately just making Matthias on that 88 acres a community for all, as inclusive as we can. It's going to house our gift and garden center, bakery and coffee shop, Scott's bike shop, just meeting spaces, gymnasiums, things like that, where we can really tie the community into, hey, come check us out, see what we're about, utilize our space, tell your family and friends, bring a neighbor, anything that we can to kind of get people into us and really learning and questioning, who is Matthias, what are you guys doing, where are you going? The more people that we can intrigue, the more support we're going to have, the more families that we can assist. There is some of our lovely students doing all kinds of things, from exercise to hanging out, making lunch, doing games, yoga, anything and everything that they can. And then that's my spiel. I'm really here to answer any questions that you guys might have about Matthias. Yes, please. It is not. So we are licensed as adult family homes. It's a more personalized, more individualized. So we have 4 residents per home, and then each home is strategically planned, if you will, in terms of those residents. All of our residents in our home are currently students at our day program, so we're really able to pair them together with, who's got similar interests, similar needs, things of that sort, so that the staff can come in and really be as inclusive as possible. Does that answer your question? Not so much?
I was going to add,
Go ahead.
I'm supposed to use the microphone.
Come on over.
I got in trouble last time.
Yeah.
So keep in mind, this is Wisconsin. So they have slightly different terms and slightly different regulations than we have here. So what might look like a CEL or may have a term like that may not be exactly comparable to what it is in Wisconsin. So there are definitely differences, excuse me, in what they can do there versus what we can do here because of the regulations. So for instance, building that complex, we can't do that here because of the regulations in Illinois, because Markland is actually attempting to do that. They're trying to create that space, but they've run into all sorts of regulation issues with the state. And so it's just the differences, and the neat thing about where we're located, where CEL is located, we're so close to the border that while we don't want the people that are here participating in our programs to head north, we also understand that housing is an issue. And so that was one of the reasons why we wanted to bring Matthias down, is that they do have opportunities up there in Wisconsin that we just can't do in Illinois because of the way the housing situation is. So, yeah.
So are the residents divided according to their needs and their functional
So that would be a question that I will turn over. But yes, but that's
Yes.
just to kind of answer your question about the CEL piece.
Perfect. So yes, to answer your question, our fraternities are based the same, similar way. If we have students that have more of those medical needs, we try to group them together. Those that are a little bit more independent, higher functioning, we try to build frat houses surrounding student needs. Not to say that they can't transition from one frat house to another if we need more behavioral support or less behavioral support, things of that sort, and our houses are going to kind of stagger that way as well. Yes?
So I did go tour. And
Awesome.
I'm on your wait list.
Okay.
But one thing that concerns me is that if you pull from your day program, so my son attends a day program here because I work, so I can't commute there every day for the day program.
Sure.
Is that going to work against him? Because when I have to do housing and day programming at the same time.
Sure.
Does that make sense? And how will that work in your system?
That will not count against him at all. You have toured, are you on our wait list?
So I'm on your wait list.
Yes. So you are headed in the right direction, so it will not count against him. So say we have a house that opens and we're confident that it's going to meet his needs, we will work together to make sure that he can start day program and housing at the same time and kind of take over that transition.
Okay.
Yes.
You're looking at people that aren't necessarily in your day.
Correct.
Okay.
Correct. Yes?
How many years out is your wait list?
Our wait list is very fluid. We're talking 2 to 10 years depending on the need. On our end, honestly, it's mostly space, which is why we're shooting for that dream building on that property in terms of day program and residential. So once we can build more homes, more duplexes, that property, we're gonna start with 20 duplexes and go from there. Day program wise, it's really a matter of, again, the space and the need. So maybe we have space in a frat house that doesn't need as much behavioral support. It's not staffed one-to-one. We may be able to adjust sooner than later, so we just like to give that, I know it's a broad range, but that 2 to 10 years.
So if you have like a 15-year-old, what should you be doing? What would be the ideal step to be taking at this point?
I would definitely get an application in and start sooner than later, get on that wait list. I did not bring Kennan's cards, I apologize, but you guys have Kennan's contact information that we can share. She handles all the admissions. She can help with fundraising, kind of next steps, funding. Are we looking to move over to Wisconsin where we are IRIS funded and go through that? Or she can kind of navigate what funding looks like here in Illinois as well. And then we just brought on a long-term care liaison. Her name is Lindsay. She's another person we can kind of get you guys in contact with, going through those next steps of, hey, this is where I'm at, this is where I'm looking to go, here's my timeline, is that realistic? What can you do to help me in the meantime?
How many Illinois kids do you have out there?
We started about 50-50, actually, Illinois, Wisconsin residents. That I cannot give you an accurate answer. I apologize.
Commute, like do they commute as a group and with transportation? How does
So we cannot transport, over the border. So our Illinois families are commuting back and forth or like partnering with other parents that are in the community, like, hey, I'll drop off, you pick up, or hey, you take Monday, I'll take Wednesday, whatever it is. And then that is absolutely fluid as well, depending on funding and family needs. All of our students do not come 5 days a week. If it works for them to come Monday, Wednesday, Friday versus Tuesday, Thursday versus 5 days a week, we definitely try to meet everybody where they're at and accommodate any needs that we can.
And then do they have to start when they're 18 or could they start
Nope.
when they're 22?
Absolutely. Absolutely. Our youngest is 18, but as you guys know, you have services until their 22nd birthday. Some were anxious to get in and get moving, or friends were going, so they wanted to hop on board as well. So they pulled from their transition programs to come up to us, but yes, at any age. Youngest right now is 18, oldest 57-ish. Yes, of course. IRIS is state funding in Wisconsin, so it's its whole bear, I'll call it, different than funding that you guys have here in Illinois, but definitely something to look into. They have different consultants that can help you kind of navigate that path in terms of funding, whether it's assistance in the home, funding towards day program, residential. Everybody has kind of their own avenue, so we turn to those IRIS consultants to really help us navigate that to make sure that you guys are able to utilize every single resource that's out there for you. Yes?
Need a microphone.
Yes, you want to attach.
So it's similar to our PUNS list, and then like an ISC with like CAU or something like that. It's all very similar, and the process is basically what you end up doing is your Medicaid is sort of what drives it. So when you move, your Medicaid switches to the other state, and depending upon there may be a lag time in the time frame, and that's the part that's hardest, is that as it transitions, but that's all done through the state. So if you're looking at transitioning, it is basically working with almost like your ISC here, and then what's up in Wisconsin to kind of do that transition.
I'm so grateful that you know all this.
I know a lot of random things.
Sorry.
So,
Yes.
I don't know who to direct this question.
Sure. You might just want to stay up here with me by the microphone.
Yeah, back to the microphone.
Come on up here. Keep me company.
You mentioned that there's snags, regulatory snags in developing something like that here in Illinois. Is that basically the individual home style approach versus having an apartment style approach? Is that where it kind of cuts off?
So it's everything is the way it works, unfortunately. So what the kind of overarching picture is that the system was set up, the rules and regulations were put in place so that we would make sure that the people we serve here were integrated with the community, so that it wasn't a what we kind of had happen before, where it was like an institutionalized environment. So it wasn't very, isolated. And so we created these requirements and these rules about how many people could be in a house, how many people could be in a community, like the zoning, is how many houses could exist in one space. And even within an apartment complex, if you were to purchase an apartment complex, you can only have so many people that are receiving funding, so many people that are receiving, state aid, this aid, housing this. There's like all these requirements about how many people can get what it is within a space. And so that's the issue. So when you do something like this, where it's the property, in Illinois, unfortunately, it falls into that piece of you can't have that many homes living within a space, even if the idea behind it is to create this community that is accessible to everyone. That it's not set up like a space. And I know exactly where you guys are located. I'm on the border myself. And so I drive by there frequently. It's very much accessible. Like like you mentioned, there's a strip mall across the way. It's right there. It's just north of the Wisconsin, like the Illinois border. But that is the issue we have here right now, and it's a side effect of us trying to do something to make sure that people were integrated with the community, and it kind of backfired, unfortunately. The right was there, but it didn't quite work the way it should.
But still in that same conversation, because it's one of the things that, why we have these long wait lists, and even though you have that backfired, there's still like, I don't know, like 7 of those giant SODCs that take up so much money from the funding. And so why they don't fall under that rule? Did they grandfather in, or what?
That I don't know the answer to, unfortunately, and that's a really good question and something I should kind of investigate, to be honest, just out of curiosity. I'm gonna guess, just, that it is a grandfathered thing, and I mean, knowing what I do know of the nursing home system and how that was set up originally, a lot of those older buildings were grandfathered in, and then as new ones were built, the old ones were torn down, and so then that changed it. But it's a really good question.
That's why so many of us have our adult children at home, is because we would never want to live in these places.
Right. Right. And that's the whole goal of bringing somebody in to talk on these different options. I mean, it does cause us to have to figure out, well, how do we navigate moving north and, and dealing with those pieces. But I can tell you it can be done. And there are definitely people that attend programs, I know there are, that, that live here in Illinois and make that commute. And it's not the easiest commute depending upon where you live. I mean, that is definitely a hard part of it because you've got the distance. But it does access services for you if that's what you want and that's your long-term goal. I've definitely worked with parents, not here, but in my previous roles, who had moved their children north. And the services and the things that was accessible, it made sense to them. It's like they had much more access to services. And it's a shame because you shouldn't have to leave the state that you live in. You shouldn't have to leave your community to be able to gain services. And unfortunately, that's kind of the situation we're in right now in Illinois. Housing, I would say, is a national problem. I don't think it's specific to Illinois. I think the issue with Illinois is that there are a lot of different rules and regulations that were put in place. Again, I want to hope that they were done from a place of trying to make things better, but it doesn't seem like that's helped. And I mean, if you look at where we're ranked in the US for services, it's not pretty. So, there definitely are other states, but it's also fluid. So I know people who have moved to, say, Arizona to access services, and when they've gotten there, it wasn't what they thought it was going to be. So it's always hard when you're not in that space. You only know where you are and what you're going against at that moment, and you can only look then to what there is. But I can definitely say that housing across the board is an issue, and trying to figure out, especially as our population is aging, that is a huge issue, because how do we now provide supports as we're also dealing with things like dementia and, increased mental health issues and just issues that come along with aging. Now we've got additional mobility issues and looking at, the adaptive equipment that we're utilizing now, looking at iPads and things like that. Well, somebody who maybe is in their 60s, 70s, 80s, who never utilized those, maybe even younger than that, is not going to be able to communicate through those ways. And so just trying to figure out how do you bridge that gap as we are aging and our population is aging and aging gracefully. So with all the medical technology that we have now, people are living longer, and that's the same for the people that we serve. So, yeah.
Yes?
You've used the term frat houses several times.
Yes.
And my thinking about a frat house probably is not the same as what you're referencing.
It's not as wild, but yes, the intent is the same. So because we are servicing those that are 18 and older, we try to keep that college feel, that college setting. So we refer to the frat houses, it would be like a typical homeroom or classroom setting, if you will. So we use the terminology frat houses. Teachers are professors and assistant professors. Each frat house has, just like you're thinking, we've got a Delta Omega, a Zeta Rho, trying to keep it fun that way in that college feel, that college setting, because we are servicing adults.
So do you have organization rituals?
We do not, but we have golfing with eggs and pie in the face and beer pong minus the beer, all kinds of things like that. Always having fun.
And I have done the tour, as a few of us have as well, and I can tell you when you walk in, it feels very much like you're walking into a college campus. Like the bookstore is kind of, when you first walk in, it's sort of set up that way. You've got the shirts and the things, so it feels very much like going into a college experience. And if that's something that someone is looking for, it very much is there. But I can tell you that the programming, at least from the day program standpoint, if you're familiar with CEL's programming, it's very similar. Going out into the community a lot. One of my friends actually works for Matthias, and so not to plug it, but at the same point. So I see a lot of what her Facebook posts are and where they're going and what they're doing. It's very similar activities to what we do here. So, to me, that's, again, one of those things that says a lot about making that community piece and looking at what the future is with the housing aspect, kind of what that looks like, to just kind of add that part.
Yes?
How far off are you with the development of the houses in this particular area?
In this, for the residential component, that's probably closer to that 10-year mark on our 2 to 10 range. Again, with zoning and waterways and building bridges and things like that, every obstacle that we absolutely intend to overcome, but it will take time and it will take funding.
And how is your funding for that? How far along are you in raising enough money to start the campus?
We're quite a few $100,000 away, if not more. We do host different fundraising events. We've got a golf outing, we've got an annual gala, things of that sort. We also were not anticipating some of the needs that we now know that we have with the architect coming out, things of that sort, such as the waterways and building bridges, which is just kind of stacking on needs funding of that sort. Like I said, we will hopefully have the duplex up in the front in that existing house that we are just reconstructing up by the end of the year. So that will give us 2 more additional homes, if you will.
So you'll be housing 16 people at that time.
Correct. Yes?
I just had a general question.
Sure.
Like, if someone's in one of your houses,
Mhm.
and I'm learning through all of these different stickers.
Sure.
I just was wondering, like, if someone has the flu, or if someone gets, like, sick,
Sure.
how would you know, just generally speaking, how would you know what to do to take care of yourself if you haven't yet been in a position where you've had to be on your own and figure out and navigate, oh, I'm sick, what do I do?
Sure. So as much as we are promoting the independent living, we have that staff in those houses 24/7. So actually, just as of this morning, I got the call this morning from staff that was there overnight saying one of the residents didn't feel well. She wasn't wanting to go to day program, so I was able to then just switch my route, pivot. Instead of going to the office, I went to the house and I spent the day with Cece instead. So staff is always looking out. We are also in contact with parents. That same resident had a dentist appointment, this afternoon, and we called them. She's feeling under the weather. Do you still want to take her to that appointment? Would you like us to keep her home, cancel, reschedule, things of that sort? So always open lines of communication, really partnering together and making sure that resident needs are met.
Do you think a lot of similar places have that option, or do you think it's more based on Matthias?
I would like to boast and say that it's based on Matthias. Other adult family homes that we have seen, they're staffing with just one staff to 4 or 5 residents, things of that sort. And it's our pleasure because they're coming from us in the homes to us in the day program. So there's never that added stress of oh, we have to get them to day program because we don't have the staff, or, hey, we're running late, we're gonna miss the bus. It's not gonna happen. We do our own transportation routes, and they're coming, like I said, from us to us, so we have that leniency, if you will, that little space of, hey, we need an extra minute because we woke up late, or we ran long on breakfast, whatever it is. We don't have to worry about missing out on what the day has to bring for us.
Thank you.
Yes, of course.
I think there was one other question.
Yes?
For your residents that are in the homes, how much independence do they have? And can they walk out of the home? Can they go to another part of the campus on their own?
So the 2 homes that we currently have open are off campus. We've got one in Pleasant Prairie, one in Twin Lakes, so they are not pushing out into the community independently. They will always have staff with them.
Do they have activities ever that are just solely for them outside in the community, and is that allowed?
Yes, absolutely. So during the week, they're attending the day program, so they are pushing out with those frat houses with friends from the day program, but on the weekends, our residential staff is able to get them out into the community, whether we're attending a fundraising event, going out to eat, even just enjoying the nice weather in the neighborhood, taking a walk, and again, putting ourselves out there so that, you know, we're constantly pushing for that inclusive community.
Do they organize activities?
Absolutely. Yes, each house also has a full-time house manager, so they are kind of heading that up in terms of making sure that we're getting multiple outings that are strictly for the residential residents, versus just what they're doing with their friends and their teachers at the day program.
What is the commitment and parental or guardian involvement with a financial situation? Like, who is truly supporting Matthias, Academy? Is it just strictly state funding? Is it personal funds coming from the families?
It is a mix of both. So we do have our Illinois residents and Illinois participants at the day program that are private pay because they're still working and navigating those channels of funding, but we do, in addition, have state funding as well through IRIS and some of the other My Choice and things of that sort.
How about for residential?
Same thing.
So there is a fee to have them reside there besides their Medicaid?
That's a tricky question. A lot of funding is getting pulled from their Medicaid. We do have Illinois residents that families are willing to private pay until we can access those avenues through IRIS and funding.
And once they're in, is there a financial requirement from the families to maintain their residence there?
Right now, what I see coming out of like the day-to-day pocket money of families is like the slush fund, if you will. Every month, say, Cece likes to shop, mom's gonna send her $100. That's her personal money, so if we're out shopping and she wants to pick up an extra pair of shoes or an extra purse, whatever it may be that's interesting her, they have that pocket money.
But no occupancy charge.
Correct.
Residential fees?
Yes.
So when you're referring to state funding for the residents, that is the operation, the support service. Are you getting state funding for the actual cost of construction or any part of it?
We are not for construction. That is all on us to raise funds.
That does not exist for your level of services where there's a whole bunch of that for low income and supportive housing.
Correct.
Your space doesn't have that.
Correct. Yes.
So for the weekends, so I know that they go to the day program during the week, and then you have things for them to do on the weekend.
Correct.
And can they, so I have my son here, I was gonna introduce you at the end.
Yes, please.
So can he likes the screen time, can they opt out if they want to, or do they need to go with?
No, always their choice, always resident choice. And sometimes they're going out into community with families versus us. We have 2 of our residents that have been involved in their cheer team in their community for years prior to coming to Matthias. They still go to cheer on the weekends. Their home caregivers or family will come pick them up to keep them involved in those activities. They're not just stuck with us in what we're doing. Always choice, always options.
I have a question.
Yes?
What about if they're employed? Do you have any residents currently that are employed?
I do not.
Okay. And if you did, I mean, would that be something that would be supported? I mean,
Oh,
is that
absolutely.
something? Okay.
Anything that we can do to kind of push that independence, absolutely. Yes.
Sorry.
No, that's it.
So can you support people who need more care, like need to be bathed, cooked for? kind of
Absolutely.
clean?
That is our Girls House right now, it is pretty much 100% hands-on with personal hygiene, with cleaning that house, meal prepping, shopping, all of that. Anybody else?
So, I have one too, but we've gotten.
Yes.
You go ahead.
Would you mind just sharing a little bit more information on the new member process and how the fundraising process works?
So that is not my wheelhouse. That's Kenan. Kenan is in Africa, everybody. I can just say to please reach out to Kenan and she can help you through that application process. Help you with fundraising, setting up a one cause page, anything of that sort. Yeah, I can't even pretend that that's my wheelhouse. Yes, I'm sorry.
So in the,
Go ahead.
residential, you live in the residential, they eat their meals there too, or do you have, that's not like a cafeteria concept?
In terms of, I'm sorry, meals?
If you're living in the residence, they eat their meals in where they live.
Correct.
There's not like a common space.
Nope. It's set up just like a home. We've got a kitchen, staff will assist with that. Our gentleman's house is a little bit more independent, so they're helping with that meal prep and cooking dinner, packing lunches, things of that sort, but meals will always be provided within the home.
I have another question. This was a question that was asked last time of somebody else. So, when it comes to medical needs,
Yes.
is there anything that you can't maintain? So, tube feedings or, catheters or anything like that? Is there anything that's off the table?
Nope.
Yeah, like administering prescription medication.
That we do on a daily basis, and we have to make sure that we have those medication administration records, that we have orders from the physicians. We partner with a pharmacy up by us called Good Value Pharmacy, so they individually do pill packs for us that keep everything as streamlined as possible. So it's John Doe's meds, it's 8 o'clock in the morning, it's for Thursday the 14th. It lays everything out for us. We definitely keep track of that.
Do you
Yes.
anticipate having like RNs living on the site at this campus?
I would never say never. If the need arised, we absolutely could. Right now,
Like a health clinic or something like that with that number of kids? I'm just wondering how you would handle.
that's a great question. That is a great question. I don't have an answer, but that's something that I will definitely go back and look into. Right now, we do have a full-time nurse on staff at our day program. She also supports us in the residential capacity as well. We keep everything as digital as we can, so even if it's over the counter, say a resident had Tylenol at 8 a.m., it's documented so that the nurse can see that, so when they're at the day program, okay, it's lunch, they're still not feeling well, has it been long enough, can we pass meds again? Definitely keeping that communication open.
Where's the closest hospital if there was an emergency? Like where would they take them?
Oh,
Is that right there on the highway right here? Like
it
Probably
is Kenosha.
Yeah, I would say Kenosha.
20, 15 minutes?
Yeah, it's
15 minutes.
It's the one. There's one right off of 50 in Kenosha where like the Costco is. That's probably the closest.
Closest one.
Reiter, that's the.
It's yeah,
That's the Reiter one, yeah.
yeah.
Okay, just wondering.
Yes. Any other questions? Do you have any other questions?
I don't think so. Well, if anybody thinks of any questions, I gotta step up to this. If anybody thinks of any questions, Asia's nodding her head at me. Please feel free to reach out. We've got definitely the contact information over there from Matthias. I have, the contact information she was speaking about. So if you guys think of any questions, definitely feel free to either reach out to me and I can forward it across, or, if there's any additional contact information on there, you can also reach out that way. But if there's no other questions, thank you all for coming this evening. I thought this was really helpful and informational, so thank you very much.
Thank you for having me.
And it's really cool to drive by. If you haven't gone by, it is like a really cool thing to keep watching everything grow. So it's kind of neat. But yeah, so good luck.
Thank you. And we welcome everybody to stop on by, take a tour. You're welcome.